Hello and welcome back to the LFC Transferring for another edition of the Transfer Central. Today, joined by three lovely gentlemen, Matty, James, and Damon. Matty, I'll start with you. How are you doing this lovely day? Nice little win yesterday.
Yeah, I'm doing well. We won yesterday, got Wembley on Saturday, Paris in 2 weeks. It's draining me bank at what a time to be a Red.
Yeah, James, we spoke about Erling Haaland, but today we've got some more Liverpool transfers to maybe cheer us up about them spending another 200 million on a player.
Yeah, it's crazy. And the Trevor Sinclair train going, nobody else does this. Everyone hates Man City. Oh, God, today, if you've listened to Trevor Sinclair, it's annoyed me. So it's great to talk about Liverpool stuff.
Yeah, and Damon, it's been a busy day for transfers today. A lot of news, got some Tchouameni things. But how are you feeling after yesterday's game?
Relieved, to be honest. We won the best of games, was it? But we got the win. At the end of the day, it's just on to us now.
Yeah, definitely. But before we speak about all the stuff, if you are new and just joining, hello, thank you for joining. Make sure you are leaving a like on the video. It helps us out, gets us on the YouTube algorithm. But Matthias, Salty Skunk, hello, and everybody else joining. But the first story of today, James Milner, a report coming from The Athletic claims that James Milner, Jurgen Klopp wants James Milner to stay at Liverpool. Milner's representatives have held initial talks with the club, but it is understood that FSG will make the final decision regarding an contract offer for the 36-year-old. Matty, at the moment, midfield is our most stock position, proven by the lack of game time for the likes of Harvey Elliott, Oxlade-Chamberlain, Curtis Jones to an extent. He's mainly the one who comes off the bench. It's not like we need James Milner, is it? But he is a good asset to have in the changing room.
Yeah, I have always been in the camp of James Milner getting a new contract, to be honest with you. I think it's quite divided in the fan base because loads of people say, like, get rid. I'm not in the boat of giving him a new contract on the wages he's on now, though. I do think a wage reduction, and I'd keep him. But I've always said, if you ask Gerrard what Gary Mack influences was like on him as a player, he'll tell you how big it was. Having James Milner there when anyone's coming into the side as new signings, whether it's academy players, he's won it all. He's the perfect professional footballer who's looked after himself all these years. He's the perfect role model to have around. So, yeah, I do think Milner should have a new deal, 100%.
James, as Matty said there, his wages at the moment is 140 grand a week. That's on the top end of our wage structure. It's the only people who are really earning higher than him are the likes of Thiago, Van Dijk, Salah, Mane. Alisson, I think, just got one to sort of match him. That wage doesn't really, represent what he offers to the club in terms of playing time. Maybe in the dressing room, but on the pitch, he's not that. He's not as much of a player that he was a few seasons ago when he was playing, left back and helping us win games then.
Yeah, but you've got to remember the way that the Liverpool wage structure is put together is Milner doesn't play and he's on 140 grand. And yes, that's probably one of the higher bases that we've got in the club. But Liverpool are built on bonuses, appearance bonuses, goal bonuses, clean sheet bonuses, and everything that goes with it. So a player like Salah's probably getting, as much as his base might be here, he's probably earning a lot more up here because of everything that we put in. So the fact that Milner's on 140 grand a week, let's put it into context. He's not playing, so he's not getting all the bonuses that everyone else is getting. So that's pretty much his income. Now, is someone of Milner's quality worth 140 grand a week? Probably, to be honest.
Do you? I think. I mean, I don't know what anyone else can say, but I don't think quality on the pitch is worth 140 grand. I think what he offers to the dressing room.
Yeah, I think what he offers to the dressing room and his experience and knowledge and willingness to win, really, at all costs, he's worth that, definitely. But I agree with what James said. Haven't we got the second highest wage bill?
Yeah, it's up there, yeah.
It's because we keep winning. It's just such a problem, isn't it?
That's the incentive to win, isn't it? I agree with our wage structure, to be honest with you. Like, you say to Mo Salah, you want to earn, if say his base is 200 grand a week, you want to earn 200 grand a week, fine. But if you want to earn what works out to be like 500 grand a week on winners everything. Simple.
Yeah, I mean, Damon, it's a lot of people have called for him to maybe go into more of a coaching role. I think that's what personally I wouldn't mind seeing. I wouldn't mind a wage reduction to maybe less than 100 grand, but he becomes part of Klopp's coaching staff. Not like an assistant manager, but less game time, more coaching experience, and maybe we can bring someone like Harvey Elliott in and maybe drop Jordan Henderson back to the James Milner role. I think it is time we start maybe looking forward for the likes of Henderson and Milner for their next role in the club.
Well, like you said, that's the only way I'd take Milner on a new contract if it was the coaching role as well. I agree with Matty and James to an extent in terms of the experience he brings and things like that. In the last 3-4 years, that has been vital to this Liverpool team. James Milner's experience has been absolutely vital, not just on the pitch, but in the dressing room. But because of the experience we've had there over the years, I think we've already got players there now that have had that similar experience of James Milner, like Jordan Henderson. So I think Jordan Henderson will take up the James Milner role in terms of bit part appearances here and there. If we get like someone like Tchouameni, who we'll talk about later on. So I don't see the point in keeping James Milner, if I'm honest. I think he will be just taking up another squad number for no reason when there's probably a good youngster out there, whether it's in our academy or around Europe. It seems to this point now, I think Klopp loves James Milner to the point it feels like that kid that their dad's the coach when you're younger, and they keep getting played. And it's like, yeah, that's my son on there. Every 87th minute, Klopp brings him on. Milner comes on pitch. Is that that's my son, makes me proud and everything like that. And that's what it feels like now.
Alex Bruce.
Yeah, exactly that. But you know what? If I were keeping James Milner, like Charlie said, it would be a coaching role, if anything. Now,
I think when he comes on, he sees the game out. To be fair to him, and he always gives you a 7 out of 10, no matter where you play him on the pitch.
I think Henderson could do that. Though I think Henderson could do that.
I think Henderson's better than that. Jordan, we wouldn't have won yesterday without Jordan Henderson. That's just simple.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. The bit parts, I think if it's bring someone like Tchouameni, and I think Henderson will take a back seat, not a 2 back seat. I think he will play in big games and when we need him, but not every week.
I think we're talking about the wrong players, though, aren't we? It's the Ox that's going. If Milner stays, it's the Ox that's going, and we still need to bring someone else in because he's on 120 a week. Would you pay Milner 120 a week to play the Ox role?
Probably, yeah.
Well, the Ox role is not playing at all, though.
Exactly.
Like, I wouldn't pay anyone 120 grand a week to sit on a bench all day.
Really quickly, grand a week to win the hip hop battle in pre-season tour, and that's it.
We're turning to Man United. We're going to turn to Man United if we start doing that. I don't even think about doing that.
Gary Mack barely played. Gary Mack barely played, but his influence on Steve, he's massive. He's still working with Stevie now. Like, that's the type of person. Like, look at Milner. I do think that having someone like that around, he's the perfect professional. Why would you not keep him? In my opinion, like him going to someone. I think if Leeds would have stayed up, because I do think they'll go down now. I think if they stayed up, he might have went there. But him going to another club is an asset because his winning mentality and his professionalism, what he can rub off on the younger players, that's an asset to a football club. So, in my opinion, don't get rid of an asset and give a rival an asset. I'm not saying he goes like anyone massive, maybe go to Villa if they wanted him if Leeds go down, but I don't think it'd be smart to get rid of Milner just for his experience in his head.
Yeah, I mean, I see where Damon is coming from as well, especially with the, when he first joined, Milner was that player who'd won, Premier Leagues. He'd been part of successful teams, but now you look at it and how many leaders that we have in the team. Joe Gomez was a youth level international captain. Virgil van Dijk's the captain of his country. Robertson's the captain of his country. Mane's the vice captain. Salah's the captain. You look all around the pitch and you've got leaders absolutely everywhere. And, I think maybe in like 2016, 2017, when Klopp was building, that was when Milner was really vital to a lot of people, especially Jordan Henderson. I think probably Milner was somebody who showed Jordan Henderson how to sort of take over as a captain and lead, because after that, that's when we saw Jordan Henderson thrive in the likes of 2017, 2018. So I do think he's been massive. I do think he's just starting to come to an end. But just really quickly before we move on to the next, I'll just go around everyone. And would you sign him to a deal? But Matty, I'll start with you. A 1-year deal as well, which is being reported.
Yes, 100%.
James?
Yes.
Damon?
The deal that's been offered now.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. Not a deal that's been offered, but I would.
What's on 300 grand a week? What do you think Pep Linders is on? Half that, which is exactly what Milner's on. Sorry, I'm just gonna. Yeah. All right.
I don't think Pep Linders is on that much, if I'm being honest. I feel like he's don't get off.
Yeah, he's definitely about, because Klopp didn't take a pay rise in this contract, but he asked his coaching staff too.
Yeah, coaching staff. Milner would not be an assistant manager.
No, I'm not saying that. I just mean I reckon Pep Linders probably is on about 150 now. Easy.
Maybe. But before we move on to the next subject, Jen, appreciate it. I was coming back just so it didn't cut the video up, but appreciate everything you do for the channel. Also, two of you are new and just joining, please do leave a like on the video and also subscribe to the channel with the bell notifications on. Okay, the next subject / thing that we're looking at is Sadio Mane. He has been linked with a move away. We'll get onto one of the more mainstream ones, but a couple of reports coming out of Spain claim that he would like to play in the La Liga, either for Barcelona or Spain, and he could now see that as a more realistic opportunity. The fact that Mohamed Salah looks to be signing a contract and he's not going to be getting the same wages. Matty, when will players learn that moving away from Liverpool to Barcelona or Real Madrid doesn't work for you?
Never, but I stand by. I do believe this is Sadio Mane's agents doing the agent talk to get a better deal for him. I do think he'll stay. His recent form has warranted him that deal. He's revitalised in the false nine. He started yesterday over Salah, which you could, if you pulling things up like that. But I think it's his agents, because we probably would have given Mane like 250 or something. But him saying this, he can now probably say, well, Barcelona are offering 300, and then Liverpool will probably then have to match that.
Yeah, I mean, James, there were reports that, one of the front three is going to be leaving the original front three. Out of that original front three, Sadio Mane has probably been the best player this season. I'm pretty sure out of every Premier League player since the turn of the year, he has the most goals in all competitions. If you're looking on form, probably a lot of people are choosing Sadio Mane over Mohamed Salah, considering who turns up in the big games recently.
Short-termism, that. Yes, Mane's had a better second half of the season. Salah had a great first half of the season. I think what's become apparent for me, and how I view it, is Sadio Mane playing the false nine and playing it very well, and his interlink with Diaz and Salah and being able to switch positions might have just put the nail in Firmino's coffin. It might be Firmino that doesn't get his contract extended. And it kills me to say it, because I think he's the most underrated, unstatistical, trackable player in football. But I think it's Firmino that loses out on this.
Yeah, I know what I see where you're coming from. We'll touch on that in a bit, because that's been there's been reports obviously that one of them is leaving. But how hard would it be to replace Sadio Mane, Damon? Even though he has declined, he's still, putting 25 goals in a season for Liverpool, isn't he?
It's a weird question to ask now about Mane, because 4 months ago, we've been all saying, you know what, we can let him go if we want to, because he wants the same as he is now. The Mane now, I mean, it's a different player, isn't it? It's a different player. It's like the Mane that we had 2-3 seasons ago. So it's hard to really comprehend anyone else replacing him at the moment, because there's no one really out there, unless we spend a fortune, a bit like Haaland. And there's no one really out there that can hit the numbers and already fit the system that Klopp already has in that team. I think regarding the actual rumours in Spain, I think, like Matty said, I think it's mixed between the agents, but I think it's the Spanish newspapers getting a bit excited, isn't it? I think they want they want Barcelona to be one of the big boys again, don't they? Really, and like you said, when will they learn about leaving Liverpool? You're not going to a better team at the moment. There's no one better than Liverpool, Man City in the world. I mean, Real Madrid could start knocking a little bit, and Bayern could start knocking on door, but not Barcelona. And it's like one of those lads that go out drinking and say, "Oh yeah, I'll be one of the lads," and soon a bit of a sniff of a pint, and they're on the floor. You know, you're not that guy anymore. Just get over it. Maybe in a few years you might be able to handle like 2 pints, but now you're not.
I think what's interesting as well is with Bobby Firmino, he's 31 this year. So if I think out of the three of them, the one you would willingly probably let go for free, who is at the age who will, because Bobby's probably, if he left us next summer, he'd be nearly 32. He probably would go back to Brazil for a few years, or maybe go to America. He seems like that's he loves life, doesn't he? So he'd probably love life in like LA or something. And I think with Mane's recent form, that warrants him the deal. So I don't think Bobby will get a new deal, but I think Bobby will probably leave at the end of his contract for free, or he'll be offered a new deal at reduced terms, and then we'll probably go to Brazil or America. And I wouldn't begrudge him for that, to be honest with you. He would have been ours then for probably nearly 10 years, wouldn't it? Because we signed him when he was 22, 23. What was it? I'm sure it was.
2015, we signed him. 2014, a
So
year before.
Next year, it's been there like 8 years.
He wasn't actually a Klopp signing, but he suits Klopp's system so much.
Yeah, it was a Rodgers signing, but only for 6 months. So does it really? Not even that. So
near Dortmund as well.
Yeah, but you know, back onto sort of the Sadio Mane thing. As you said, he does have a year, like a season left on his contract. Let's say he is trying to force a move out. Liverpool would probably want to sell him this summer. I mean, how much do you think they could realistically get for him, Matty?
If we win the Champions League, FA Cup, and potentially the Premier League, then 40, 45 million. Your ceiling price is higher when you've won everything.
Yeah, no. How much did James? I don't know if you know this, but Eden Hazard, perfect example. He had 1 year left on his contract, I'm pretty sure, and he went for over 100 million euros. Sadio Mane at the moment is competing with Benzema for the Ballon d'Or, and he's not as injury prone as Eden Hazard is, and he's a much better goal scorer. I think he'd go and tear it. Yeah, I think he would go and tear La Liga up. Surely that's got to be worth over the 40 million that Matty said.
I think he'd go for more.
But not to Barca, though, because the skins. If it was Real Madrid, then I'd be like, maybe.
I don't think we'd sell. To be honest, I don't think we'd sell to Barca because they just don't pay their debts. They never have with us. You know, like the Coutinho debt that was going on for ages. So I think there's less likely that we'd sell to them unless there was someone we particularly wanted. I think Matthias does it right in chat. I think he's worth 70 million. And do you know what? I reckon PSG and Bayern would pay that for him. But you're right. There's not a chance anyone in La Liga is going to pay that. And then it comes down to the respect of Mane as a player. Does he deserve the opportunity if he approached it all respectfully with the club? Do we take a hit for someone who's potentially won us 2 Champions Leagues, Premier League, FA Cup, League Cup, and think? But probably not. It's business, not personal. It's difficult.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's maybe COVID has impacted it, Damon, but I feel like I'd be a bit begrudged if we weren't to get anything over 70 million for Sadio Mane, considering the form that he has been on this season.
Yeah, well, he's one of the best players in the world, isn't he, on form? So 70 million doesn't even seem enough, to be honest. I know it sounds ridiculous, but 70 million is not enough for non-form Mane. But the age he is, 1 year left, 70 million would be like the top price to get. I think we'd need like a award, like a masterclass, really. You know, like a Michael Edwards masterclass in a way to get 70 million. I think in between both James's and Matty's, I think sounds about right. About 60, 55 would be about right.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you know, it's the price tag is probably going to be, if he was to leave, it's going to be massively negotiated. Maybe Julian Ward can produce a masterclass, but it might not get to that because another report from the very, very well respected Florian Plettenberg of Sky Sports Germany, who are a lot more reliable than our Sky Sports. He has claimed that Sadio Mane's agent has met with Bayern Munich sporting director, and that is the Bayern sporting director wants to basically sign Sadio Mane. He's on the summer transfer list. There was also another report from Sky Sports Germany that said a swap deal is on the table, as both Mane and Gnabry have the same agents. Matty, I don't know if you was here, but we actually talked about this a while ago, before any reports come up about a potential Mane and Gnabry swap deal. And I think we all sort of concluded that it would be a decent deal. You know, do you still stand by that? I mean, how old's Gnabry? 26, 27?
26.
So, you know,
27 in July.
he's younger than Mane, and he's a very dynamic winger that I think would suit the Jurgen Klopp system.
On that stream, I was firmly against it. He's done well in Germany, but we've seen other players do well in Germany and not do well in the Premier League. I wouldn't swap Sadio Mane, who is probably one of our prized assets, for SERGE GNABRY, who he's good, but he's a winger, and we've got Luis Diaz. Can he play a false nine?
Well, I'm on his transfer market profile at the moment. During his whole career at Bayern Munich, he can play on the right, he can play on the left, he can play up front, he can play false nine, and he can play in the attacking midfield.
Just numbers like in them positions. That's the thing. He could have played there, but has he played there well? Because
so second striker, so false nine. He's played 21 games, 10 goals, 10 assists. And then on the left and right, he's been just as good. I'll give you his number, James, before I ask your opinion. But since he joined Bayern Munich in 2018-19, he's played 170 games for Munich, scoring 64 goals and getting 40 assists. So 104 goals and assists in 170 games. You know, a goal pretty much every other game. Every game, yeah. So, you know, they're not numbers to be sniffed at, and are they, James?
No, but it's the German league, isn't it? You know, you go past number 6, and you know, I could probably score the occasional goal there. He's a great player. Don't get me wrong. If we lost Mane and Gnabry came in as his replacement, I wouldn't be devastated. I wouldn't think we've completely effed this up. But Mane is a freak of nature. I mean, see how strong he was against Villa. No player that size has any right to be that strong. And Gnabry's not that type of player. Salah, another freak of nature. It gives our attack power. And Diaz isn't that strong player. He might get trained into it or something like that. He's a tricky player. I think bringing more tricky little players in just takes some of the power away from our counter press and our aggressive play. It doesn't scare people as much. So it would disappoint me, but if it happens, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. How is that for sitting on the fence?
Yeah, very much on the fence. I mean, Damon, you know, this season, Gnabry's also had a very good season. He scored 17 goals and got 7 assists. You know, that's a very good return for a team that don't really utilise their wingers as much as Liverpool would. You know, surely if he come to Liverpool, he can play on the left, he can play on the right, he can play up front. I mean, he's a bit older than the 25, 26-year-olds, like 24, 25, 26 that Klopp signed, but only by a year. And the fact that we could be getting him for free, essentially, if we were to swap Mane and Gnabry, he'd also be on less wages than Mane. You know, we all have a connection to Sadio Mane, and I think that's what's sort of stepping in the way of a lot of the thought, and you know, the fact that when he was younger, Gnabry didn't have the best time in the Premier League, but in the Champions League when he's played, English opposition. He's absolutely torn them a new arsehole. I mean, look at the Spurs game where he scored 4 goals against them, against one of the better Spurs sides. So, I think people are overreacting to this deal. I think it'd be a good deal for Liverpool.
Salah didn't have a great time, did he?
Yeah, exactly. So
I think his versatility definitely suits Klopp. The fact that he can play throughout the front three. But I think, when did you do the stream last on it about the swap deal?
Oh, it was about 2 months ago, but this was never a thing at this point. We were looking for replacements.
Was it after Diaz signing? Since Diaz signing, I wouldn't take him because of that. He is a left winger, really, Gnabry, if we go for it in terms of position. He is a left winger, so I wouldn't sign him now because of the Diaz thing. But before January, I'd probably looked at it. Yeah, I wouldn't have said no, and especially with Mane playing poor before January as well, I'd have probably bit your hand off for Gnabry for Mane back then. But I think we've sort of missed the boat with Gnabry now. I know he's only 26 now, but I think it'd been better coming in a Jurgen Klopp side and as a younger, a bit like where Mane came in and then Diaz now. But I won't take it now just because we've got Diaz on the left, and he's not the number 9 to fill in Mane's boots at the moment, and he's certainly at Salah's ability.
I think if we're losing him, regardless if it means that Mane is going, then it's probably a smart business to swap him. But if there's the chance to extend Mane, then I wouldn't be in that race. But if we're going to lose him, no matter what, then yeah, probably.
I can't see Mane wanting to go though. If we offer him the right contract, I can't see that. It's not about money though. I know Salah's about money at the moment, but Mane is not like that. It's so humble, so down to ground.
We always say that, but we don't know.
Don't really know, yeah.
Like
in his twilight years as well. Like, you want to set your future up now.
Yeah, like and I feel like Mane's always been one to sort of he'd be up for moving. I felt like out of always Mane and Salah, he was always the one who I thought might get sold or might push for a move. I mean, my whole thought on it is I think we could do a lot worse. It would all, and I just don't think there would be a better swap deal like that we could have on the cards where, we're bringing in Serge Gnabry, you tie him down to a contract, he's probably worth close to 80 million straight away, if not more, and Mane isn't going to be worth that, in my opinion. If you're going on a player, is it going on his age? Age is such an important game, like an important thing in transfers, and I think a lot of teams are sort of getting onto like, yeah, it's nice having these players for a few years, but it can always go downhill, but it could always go up. So I sort of backtracking on myself there, but I'd take Gnabry if I'm being deadly honest. If Mane pushed for a move, I'd take Gnabry. I think that's my final thoughts on it.
If Mane wanted to go, we could do a lot worse than Gnabry, but I don't want Mane to go. And it's not being nostalgic, it's just he's a different beast.
In that false line, yeah. He's mustard.
Yeah, definitely. But if you're new to the channel, before we get onto the Tchouameni stuff, I know that you're all waiting for, please do leave a like on the video. It helps us out a bunch. The channel's growing faster than ever, and that's all down to you guys. Loads of great stuff coming up as well. Also subscribe with the bell notifications on. But Aurelien Tchouameni, I think I've nailed the pronunciation down for what I used to be. He's being linked with a move to Liverpool very heavily. There's multiple reports saying that Liverpool are leading the race ahead of Real Madrid, and Chelsea are also sort of in there, but with the future, it's with the ownership thing, it's not 100% concrete. There have also been reports from France saying that Liverpool have now made a lucrative offer to Monaco and Tchouameni, and that Konate has played a massive part in convincing Tchouameni to join Liverpool. Matty, we've talked a lot about the Frenchman on this stream, but it seems like it's getting a lot closer and it's seeming a lot more real now, isn't it?
It's one of them. I feel like, is it going to be saved just in case we don't win the Champions League final like Fabinho was? And if we do win it, it's just another high in it. He looks decent. Can't say I've seen much of him. I think it is all but done, although Fabrizio Romano does seem to tap things in. The fact he said something is probably a good thing because he doesn't really say anything unless it's right. And everyone's talking about it. So 67 mil or something, isn't it, that is reported? I do think him and Jude Bellingham are probably the future of Liverpool's midfield. And we're getting Tchouameni now and probably Bellingham maybe next year. Thiago and Hendo aren't getting any younger. He is, although he plays more of a CDM, he's not replacing Fab, so he probably is going to be playing as a more advanced centre midfielder who will drop back when Trent or Robbo bomb forward, and then he can drop into a holding role. It's smart thinking, really. We do use our right centre mid for that a lot now. He looks exciting. I trust every signing with Jurgen Klopp, and I don't think FSG and our backing team would spend £67 million on someone who's going to be a flop. Yeah, you could argue Keita, but I think injuries have stopped this progression. I don't think Liverpool would spend that sort of money if they weren't sure. And he's young. He looks very, very exciting. And the last player we bought from Monaco didn't turn out to be too bad, did he? So I'm excited, really excited.
Yeah, I mean, James, Matty mentioned a price tag there. There were reports that they wanted 40 million, but now it went up to 70 to 75 million euros, which is around 65 million British pounds. You know, Luis Diaz at one point was 70 million. We got it down to 40 million euros plus add-ons. You know, Alisson at one point was 90 million. A lot of teams say this, but with the installments, with the incentives, it probably would look closer to around 40 million straight up, or in installments with that 15-20 million with bonuses. That's a great deal for a 22-year-old who can play as a defensive midfielder, as an 8, as a 10 on the left, on the right, and again, he's only 22 years old. He's got so much to learn, and Jurgen Klopp could be the perfect man to make him one of the best midfielders in the world, couldn't he?
Yeah, you've always got to remember with signings like younger signings. So Tchouameni's what, 22, and it all depends on the duration of the contract we put him on. So if we put him on a 7-year contract, for example, or a 6-year contract, we take that 70 million and we spread it over 6 years, and we pay X amount every year, and it's paid off over that duration. It's not like you're bringing in a 29-year-old paying 100 million and you've just got to pay it all off within 3 years of the contract. It is very clever, very sensible business. This is how we could get Alisson and Van Dijk and do all that, with that 140 million. It is a player for that amount is what, 12 million a year for their first contract. No brainer, really, is it?
Yeah, I mean, as you said there, it's we pay an installment. We're doing it with Diogo Jota. It turns out to like 10 mil a year. We're doing it with Luis Diaz too. We paid them 15 million, and we're paying the rest this year and next year. So even though it's 70 million, it's only going to be like maybe 15 million up front, and then the rest split over 3 years, because that works out for better with clubs on the taxes and how they can, especially Monaco, because they don't get taxed anything. So they're loving life over there. But Damon, how we've got an interview coming up with a French journalist or someone who's based in France who reports on Monaco, and I'll give you a sneak preview. It should be out either tomorrow or on Friday. He said that he could see Jurgen Klopp change of formation and going with 2 in midfield, Fabinho and Tchouameni, or Fabinho and Thiago. We know that Jurgen Klopp loves that 4-2-3-1/4-2-4. He's been trying to play it for years. Is the signing of Tchouameni maybe him trying to push that on even further, do you think?
Possibly, yeah, because he's so versatile, and it's another. He is a CDM like Fabinho, but it's a bit different. It's a bit more box to box rather than Fabinho just holds. So I think it would be it could be a sign of things to come, really, the change of formation. He tried it with Coutinho, didn't he, when he put him into midfield, and that worked because Coutinho were brilliant on the left, but in the midfield he sort of got the best out of him in a way, because he had more control, he got more of the ball than Coutinho, but we didn't have Fabinho behind him, we didn't have Tchouameni behind him. So, who else would go behind the striker? I wonder if they're looking at someone else. I don't know.
Elliot.
There's no really names that's been pushed out at the moment.
There's three behind it. This would probably be like a mixture of Diaz,
Yeah, could be.
Thiago more advanced, something like that. Salah would probably be the one, or Mane, and then maybe
They're not that special sort of role, are they? Those players that you mentioned could probably play there, but I don't think they're that. Klopp likes a sort of a player that can play definitely in that position.
Yeah, I think Escapado has said Carvalho's coming in. He plays right behind Mitrovic. But something that Kris also said in our chat that we could see that 4-2-4 where, it could be Diogo Jota up front with Sadio and Mane in behind, Salah on the right, and Diaz on the left. My only issue with that is we're playing with fire because that's our fourth main striker.
The Premier League as well, and you need to win those midfield battles in the Premier League.
And there are 4 strikers or 4 wingers as well, and them playing every game just isn't going to work. I think if we were to maybe sign another forward player like we have been linked with, and I think that we will this summer, that could work. But, whoever we're linked with, who knows, they're going to have to play at least 3 positions if he's wanting to play that 4-2-4. But, going back onto Tchouameni, Matty, you did say about Jude Bellingham. We've discussed loads on this. It seems like, we are building the midfield for the future. Do you think, that Jude Bellingham Tchouameni partnership would work going into the future?
Yeah, I do think so. I don't think we'll change our formation really though, because that 4-3-3 has been so established for us. Maybe the 4-2-4 is plan B for these low block sides. But yeah, I don't know. I think we've always said that Dortmund don't sell Haaland and Bellingham this summer. Do you know when you look at it, when they won the league, they sold Lewandowski, Goethe, was it Hummels all in the same?
Yeah, and they haven't won the league since.
Yeah, so they're not going to win the league. Oh, they have to accept it and give us Bellingham now, like save the asshole.
I don't think Liverpool are going to spend 180 million on two under 22 midfielders.
That's all we need, though, isn't it? Like if we go out this summer and we get in, we got that Ramsey and Carvalho by the looks of it. But if we get Tchouameni and Bellingham and we do spend 180 million, and you get you're going to Origi going for free, but you're easily getting 15-20 for Nico Williams. He's been phenomenal for Fulham in the Championship, and they're probably going to buy him. Nat Phillips, Bournemouth want him. If they come up, they always overpay for players. There's another 10-15. The Ox as well, 10-15. Like there's half the of the Tchouameni done basically. So
and like James says, you're not paying the whole 180 million straight off the top.
Bellingham's the type of player.
It's not how we do it, though, is it? It's not how we do it.
We're living in dreamland that way. It reminds me of Football Manager. When your budget's like 10 million, and you sort of give them 0, and then you say, we'll pay you 80 million in 5 years, and you sort of buy it half a squad with just 10 million budget. That's what it feels like at Liverpool.
We've got to remember that Diaz was meant to be signed in the summer. So that's 45 million of our summer transfer budget. Gone.
That's probably it. That's probably gone.
I do think we'll sell loads of players. You know what I mean? We're getting players like Karius off the wage books. I think Sheojo comes off the wage books. I know it's not massive money. Too. Yeah, but it's not massive money. But they add up to at least probably the players we let go. If you're letting the Ox go and Nat Phillips and Nico, you probably save him probably close to $500,000 a week in wages.
And you know what? I think as well in the summer and in January, we were so heavily linked with buying 2 wingers. It was never 1, it was always 2. And that massive list come out with the likes of Bowen, Gakpo, Neto. There was loads of wingers on there. Luis Diaz, I don't think was on there, but at the time he was still rumoured to be, potentially a Liverpool signing. I'm still convinced we were 100% signing 2 wingers this summer along with a midfielder, because Origi's already gone, and I'm convinced Takumi Minamino's going as well. So there's 2 players who we're going to have to replace, and they're always on the bench for us. Luis Diaz has come in, and I think it's going to be a homegrown player, and I'm convinced it's going to be Jared Bowen, if I'm being honest. But I think West Ham might want a bit too much. But, you know, Tchouameni just makes so much sense on so many levels. The only issue is he's not homegrown. And with the likes of Ox leaving, Milner potentially leaving, Curtis Jones or Harvey Elliott going on loan, that's me only, you know.
He's basically replacing like in that like Minamino or the you know, Origi, they're taking homegrown spaces up. So he's replacing one of them really, who's the part. And I don't think Klopp would have signed a 4-year extension if we promised a decent summer. We have got an aging squad. I do think that we've always been promised this summer as the big summer where things seem to change. But I think the focus, we don't need a defender. Maybe a backup keeper if Queeve decides he wants first team football, and I wouldn't begrudge him for that. And we probably need one more attacker. So if we got Tchouameni, Bellingham, and another attacker, and we got rid of all the deadwood, it'd be the best summer we've ever had, probably.
I think we need a defender if Gomez leaves, though.
I don't think Gomez is going. They're talking about contract extension, aren't they?
You let Nico Williams go 15, 20 mil easy. And then
that, I don't think that's even a discussion because Calvin Ramsey's basically done. You know, he won't be homegrown, but Fabio Carvalho will be homegrown because he's been a Fulham. So, you know, it's balancing the homegrown act, which is annoying, but we have to do it. And I think that's why maybe we're going to see an English player. You know, Calvin Phillips, I wouldn't say no to. I just don't. I think if we sign Tchouameni, I think that takes that completely off the table.
I'd say no. Calvin Phillips is a baller, but he seems like a nice, and just for that outfit he put on Instagram, I don't want him near my football club, to be honest. But he screams a United sign. I do like him, but he seems to be hampered by injuries a little bit. But he's phenomenal. He won't be staying in the Championship, that's for sure.
What about Saka?
I don't think Arsenal would sell him.
His contract has got only 2 years left, to be fair. But I still think Arsenal will be pushing for like 150 mil for him.
Klopp loves him, doesn't he? But there's no way you're getting Saka.
I think we have more of a chance to sign Martinelli over Saka.
What about Son, though, if Spurs don't get the Champions League? With Klopp saying to him this place is special at the end of the game the other day. Just what if? Like, maybe. Well, how long's left on his deal?
I don't know, but he's 30 as well.
Yeah.
Son would go up front and all, you know.
He'd be perfect.
Look, we can dream. Aurelian Tchouameni, Jude Bellingham.
If we could get Son, oh my God. He's the one player in the Premier League I'd have at Liverpool.
I tell you what, too.
Remember, though, guys, as we come into the new Premier League season, it's a bigger bench and there's 5 subs.
Yeah.
So now more players are willing to go, well, yeah, I'll go to Liverpool. I'll get game time. I'll come off the bench. I'll do this. I'll do that. I'll do the other. It's not a case of I'm never going to play anymore. So... not that I think we're going to sign a 30-year-old Heung-min Son, Jude Bellingham, and, but there is, you know, if we are getting rid of Deadwood, there is going to be a need to bring in more players because we are going to need that rotation.
And we need better class on the bench as well. We need more players that's up to that level on the bench. Come on. I
mean, just to end this off, I'll go around everyone. You know, Tchouameni for the 65 million, would you take him this summer? You know, I know what we're all going to say, but you know, Matty, James, Damon, Matty, start with you.
In a heartbeat, can't say I've seen much of him. Trust our scouting department, so that much money must mean he's a baller.
Yeah, you know, the last Frenchman, James, we signed, Ibrahima Konate, is being pretty well, and they seem like good pals, so seems like a no-brainer, doesn't it?
Yeah, and the last player we got from Monaco is not exactly too shabby either. You know, I wouldn't want to see us spend over £80 million on a 22-year-old, but anything less, I'm all in.
Yeah, and you know, Damon, I think it's been reported a 6-year contract with an option to extend. So, you know, he could be staying at Liverpool until he's 29, 30 if he was to sign, couldn't he?
It seems like a bargain, but I mean, the last Frenchman I remember that getting this sort of thing for us was Anton Latalik, and he turned out to be absolutely terrible.
He went 67 million.
Oh, Cinema Pongole.
He got that sort of brand, like he's going to be the future of this team.
Cinema Pongole scored some important goals for Liverpool. He did.
Latalik was meant to be the next Zidane, though, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was terrible, but Cinema Pongole was all right. He was all right.
Just put it down on things. Just put it down on things.
Yeah, I rated Damon O'Gog. He's French, isn't he?
Yeah.
So
I think he got one cap, didn't he?
Might have. We all remember him for his goal.
Yes, Man United, that's it.
Jarvis and a Calvert-Lewin. That he is.
But been a good stream. Noman, appreciate your contribution to the channel. It helps us out a bunch, and thank you for the continued support. But everybody who has joined us for today, make sure you leave a like on the video. It was a really good stream today. It'll be clipped up as usual and put on the channel if you missed part of it. Also to subscribe with your bell notifications on. Also go and follow Matty, James, Damon, and myself on Twitter, and also the LFC Transfer Room on Twitter. But yeah, come on, you Wolves, is all I'm going to